Hello everyone, today out of completely nowhere, Nintendo has just announced their new Nintendo Switch. They're not calling it the Switch Pro, this is the new Nintendo Switch OLED model. But what does that actually mean? Well, in this video, I'm going to be telling you everything that you need to know about the new Nintendo Switch. So let's go. Starting off with the main difference of the new Switch model being, well, the new screen. It now has a 7-inch screen compared to the 6.2-inch screen of the original Switch, which I have here. Now they haven't done this by changing the size of the Switch or making it any bigger. Instead, what they've done is just made the gap between the edge of the screen and the edge of the device a bit thinner. Because as you can see, there is quite a big gap between, the edge of the screen and the actual Joy-Con itself, whereas now that gap will be considerably smaller. Now, along with the bigger screen, the type of screen that they are using has now changed. As the name would suggest, from the OLED model, they are now using an OLED screen. Now, if you want a more in-depth explanation on what OLED screens and other display types are, I would recommend going and watching my How to Buy a Monitor or TV Buying Guide video, which is a video I go into a bit more detail about the various different types of screens you can get. But to quickly say the main pros and cons of an OLED screen in this video, the main pros being the picture quality and the contrast ratio and the viewing angles of the panel are much better than most other display types. The viewing angles being, well, the angle you view the screen at. So say for example I'm looking at my Switch and maybe I'm playing with a friend and have it kind of off to the side so they can see it as well. So now I'm kind of looking at it in an angle. Improved viewing angles would mean that both of us will be able to see what's on the screen much clearer, as opposed to having to be right looking at it flat on right in the middle of the screen. Since one of the main benefits of the Switch is that you can take a Joy-Con off and hand it to your friend, you're going to want to be able to see it from all angles. Although, looking at my Switch from multiple angles, the viewing angle is already pretty good. And the contrast ratio basically just being the difference between the darkest blacks of the screen and the brightest parts of the screen. Basically just means that the games that we played on the Switch's screen will look a little bit brighter and maybe a bit more vibrant and just overall more realistic. And the other benefit of an OLED screen would be improved response times. Now obviously people are probably going to end up doing tests of the response times and of the new Switch when it comes out, so you'll have to wait to see if that's actually a benefit of this Switch or not. But some of the downsides of OLED, main one being it's a lot more expensive than any other panel type, and because of this the cost of the new Switch is apparently going to be $349.99 US. Now that would be the retail price in America most likely, because $350 is about £250, and that would make it cheaper than a regular Switch. Yeah, nah, it's probably gonna be like £350 or something. How do you Americans get things so cheap? On to other features. The main other feature that the new Switch has is the improved kickstand, which I'm quite happy about really, because whenever I go to use my Switch's stand, I open it up, it just does this. And so now the stand for the Switch will be across the entire back of the Switch and not just a little slither on the back. So it's going to make it much more durable and more likely to actually support the Switch when in tabletop mode. The next upgrade feature would be the new improved speakers. So Nintendo claim to have enhanced the audio on these onboard speakers. Now obviously we don't know how they sound yet because no one outside of Nintendo has probably heard these speakers yet, so we'll have to wait for some sound tests when it launches. And the last benefit of the Switch itself being it now has 64 gigabytes of storage instead of the 32 that the regular Switch comes with. But you can also still, as always, just buy a micro SD card and expand the storage that way, and they do appear to have changed the location of the micro SD card along with the changed kickstand. Now one of the benefits of the dock that comes with the OLED model for this new Switch is that it has a LAN port or an Ethernet port. So this allows you to plug your Nintendo Switch directly into your modem or router, so you no longer have to use Wi-Fi. Now the main benefits of using an Ethernet cable or a LAN port over a Wi-Fi connection would be a more stable connection. So if you've ever had issues in Nintendo Switch Online games such as Animal Crossing or Splatoon 2 or pretty much any other online game. Having played a lot of Nintendo Switch Online myself, I have noticed a lot of times when I've been playing a game with someone and then they've suddenly disconnected due to poor internet connection. Now I'm not saying it's going to make your connection any faster, but it will definitely make it more reliable. And last but not least, we have to talk about the new color scheme option that is available only on the OLED model. They've gone with this sleek white and black design that totally doesn't look like any other game console that's currently on the market. But as well as the white and black design, which I think looks phenomenal, there is also a version with the red and blue Joy-Cons as well. Now looking at the more subtle differences, they appear to have changed the power button and the volume button slightly. And then if we look at the back, we can see this new brightness sensor, which I've looked, is not on the original Switch. Now what I assume this brightness sensor is for is to detect the brightness of the room you're in, and it will be able to automatically adjust the brightness more effectively. So it will be able to detect whether you're in a dark room, maybe dim down the brightness a bit, or if you're in a bright room, it needs to turn up the brightness. It doesn't look any thicker or any thinner. It looks about the same size as a regular Switch, which is probably a conscious decision, seeing as one of the questions down here is, can the Nintendo Switch dock, a regular Switch dock, be used with the OLED model? And they say yes, it can. So it is backwards compatible with older docks and older Joy-Cons, and they do quite clearly say on their website that the Joy-Con controllers included with the Switch OLED model are the same controllers currently available. So what they're saying there is no, they haven't fixed Joy-Con drift with this. And so the last thing to mention would be that you can get your hands on this Switch later this year on the 8th of October. And so that's everything they've changed about the new Switch, which some people won't be too happy about. A lot of people were hoping for improved performance, maybe a 4K model. A lot of people were hoping for a higher resolution on the screen. However, that doesn't seem to be the case. It appears it's just a regular Switch on the inside with the added benefits that I've already spoken about. Although I would like to see how the OLED screen affects the battery life, because, well, it should affect the battery life. Also, I've just noticed that the dock has more rounded corners, which I quite like the look of. And so thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful, and I will see you all sometime soon.